You got 15 minutes. I said 5 minutes.
Good to know.
Well, she's still making 5 anyways.
Okay, I'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. And I'd like a motion to excuse Cheryl, Leland, and Matt. All three of those did not make it tonight.
So moved.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, and then I need approval of the July 8th meeting minutes.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, moving on to the financial report.
Okay, we do have a financial report. If you'll look, it'll be the second page in the agenda packet. For the month of June, we ended up collecting $9,166.06. The net collections for the year thus far is $208,799.81, and then you got to take out your reserve of $100,000. Remember, July still isn't in. They have to we'll have those figures next month. What we've paid out so far, total disbursements, is $97,544.36, and that closes out all the bills that we're aware of. So the remaining balance is $11,255.45. And then if you'll look below, the finance officer had kind of remaining balance explanation, revenues over expenses for each fiscal year. 2011 to 2012, this is your carry forward where it's coming in at. You have $6,757.06. And then for fiscal year 2012-2013, you've got $4,498.39. So there's your carry forward of $11,255.45.
Okay, which is our remaining balance?
It's the same. You're $11,255.45 as of now.
So we're going to be able to use that money. It doesn't go in reserve or anything.
That's
No.
what, basically, you got to think, like right now, starting out, we've not taken in, they have to the 15th to report what the hotels or lodging has received for the month of July. So we're starting out with nothing, but technically, because of our carry forward balance, we really have $11,255.45, and then plus whatever we'll end up making in July. So we started out in the clear.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which that's
a good
that,
thing.
like our $100,000 budget.
Right.
That's what we can use for any bills coming in with the new fiscal year.
Yep.
Moving on to the subcommittee reports. Mike,
Yeah, no.
So we don't have a report for July yet, correct?
Correct. You will next month.
you're a month behind.
They're a month behind because
Correct.
the collections for the month of July don't get paid until 16th of August.
That's fine, I was just making sure.
Yeah.
Candy, I'm not sure if I can't remember if you've been doing this or not, but the financial report, you probably ought to take a motion to approve and accept it just as reported, so.
So can I have a motion?
I'll move to accept the financial report.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? I guess we don't have anything for policy and procedures right now either, because we've already done this. I'm moving on to the application review chair report.
I just have the one that I'll present on about Pumpkin Fest.
So we're going on to new business, funding request for the Pumpkin Fest for $1,500.
I'm going to touch on that. The reason why Linda Sloat, who is with the Main Street program, she had to be out of town, but this is just kind of, she asked me to present it. Well, of course, we won't vote on it until the September meeting. But what it is, they're asking for $1,500 for Pumpkin Fest this year and the consideration of 2 billboards. I'll touch first on the dates. It's going to be Friday, October the 25th, which is a hayride on the Highlands Road. And then the main event that's on Main Street is going to be Saturday, October the 26th, and Main Street is closed. What they're proposing to do, I'm just going to read the highlights real quick. Friday night, October the 25th, is the Highlands Road Merchants will have a hayride and trick-or-treating for the children. Saturday, it should read the 26th, will be in downtown Franklin with the famous pumpkin roll, games for kids, live music, crafts and food vendors, pie eating contest, costume contest, and parade. We'll also be having roving entertainers that are a big hit last year. One thing she did say they were doing differently is this year, for the first time, they'll have inflatables for children at Pumpkin Fest. That's the bouncy castle. So they're trying to be even more kid-friendly. As far as attendance, last year they had over 650 pumpkins were rolled down Frogtown Hill. And the winner last year in 2012 was from New Hampshire. They have people, they go around and they try to collect as many zip codes as possible. They've had people from Virginia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Florida, Tennessee, New York, and New Hampshire. Also, as far as trying to moving forward and becoming self-sufficient and just trying to get away from relying solely on funds. Now, last year they'd asked for $2,000. This year they've reduced it to $1,500. They were successful with a fundraiser. Last year the fundraising effort was very successful with the Main Street program. They controlled the sale of drinks. They had a Pepsi trailer set up, which was with volunteers that distributed the drinks, and the food vendors at the festival were not allowed to carry sodas. So that was able for the Main Street program to generate a little bit of income to help them. $1,500 this year for Pumpkin Fest. It's down from, it was $2,000 last year. And then the consideration of 2 billboards. I talked with Jessica at Premier Marketing, and she said that that was possible because the next run of the billboard campaign will hit in October. This was just, if you'll look, I passed this around, one of her suggestions you might could do for Pumpkin Fest, and you could put it up on 2 billboards because we have 4 available. So just something to consider.
Is that the only thing that would show on the billboard?
Oh no, there's another fall.
Okay, so these 2 would show on,
Yes.
would alternate.
That alternate.
On the Atlanta ones. I was just making sure she knew that it wasn't the billboards.
Right.
We didn't have those in there. Okay.
And I'll be glad to try and entertain questions, or I can take questions and get a response from her if I can't answer them.
So these would basically, this is what she wants to post on the 2 billboards that we have in Atlanta. And she wants to put those on both, which they rotate.
And I spoke with Jessica Mason at Premier, and this was her recommendation. She said it would be something we could work into with no cost. So, I mean, we've already figured into our costs. So.
I like the fact that they're asking for less. They're trying to, I mean.
And it is a busy week, or Saturday.
Yeah.
You saw a lot of rooms on that weekend?
We've had some, I don't know about.
October is one of the busiest ones too.
And everybody
We were
else-
down
But-
last year.
But do people come to town for Pumpkin Fest?
Yeah, they
Oh,
do.
yeah.
Staying at the hotel, I don't know that I've had anyone say that they were staying
You
for that.
have-
I mean, when
You have a hotel?
well, no, I do rentals of vacation homes. So they're private homes, but the one thing they ask me, if it's October and they're booking, when is Pumpkin Fest? We want to come during Pumpkin, and I mean, everybody in October is asking me about, which I'm glad I have that date. And I usually, you know, if I don't know something, they're asking what else is going on. You know, the chamber has all that info as far as events, other
Should we do a
events.
brochure for Pumpkin Fest? Because that's something probably that we need to post out to places. So
Yeah, I'd be
people know
glad
that it
to
is
ask her
going
to
on.
bring some.
Yeah.
Now with the fund request, we wait. right?
This was just the presentation, and then she'll be here at the September meeting, and we'll decide if we want to give any funds or reduce it or not. It'd be our decision then. Then she'll be here if you guys have questions for her in September.
Now, because, would this have been when she would actually make her presentation? So at that September meeting, will she make a presentation?
She'll just be there in case.
y'all have questions.
We've already,
If
this
there's
is,
any
right,
questions,
okay,
yeah.
okay.
This is-
So if we had discussion, we could ask her, discuss it now and ask her at the next meeting. Now, has anyone else really applied? Like, have you been seeing applications coming in while we're talking about applications? No?
This is the first one I've saw since probably March when we shut it down.
And so did the spring, did we do the ads to get everyone to, I know that we discussed it and
Yeah.
stuff, so.
And this has been so far the only one, but the year is young.
Yeah, we're just gonna start.
discussion before our next meeting, then the questions that we need to ask her, or you guys want to ask,
For
that we
Pumpkin
have
Fest?
prepared before then?
And we do it every year. Success.
Yeah, I was just looking too, does she track it? I mean, I know she has certain things, I think they were doing something to find out.
She's got,
I think the sign
she
for
does
the
it.
pumpkins wasn't.
They
That's one
attempt to
too.
gather
Okay.
zip codes, she says in there, and she lists some of the states that she's at outside,
It's on page 3 under measurements.
yeah,
Yeah, the six.
top paragraph.
No, and, you know, 650 pumpkins is a lot, but, you know, you gotta look at the fact that there are a lot of local people that do it too. So when you're looking at probably, you know, 300, 325, if you say half are from out of town, you're paying $5 per person to come do this.
For the pumpkin.
Mhm.
To actually roll pumpkins, and then there's people that just
That
go
just
and watch. and-
They can bring their own, or
Yeah.
they can purchase them there.
Go and shop.
Yeah, yeah.
I've been there for them, I don't think I made it
It's a
last year.
huge, it's probably the biggest festival
Yeah, it's-
the town has right now.
yeah, it draws the most people.
I like the fact that they stopped the vendors from selling drinks, so that
They're
they
trying.
can make money
Mhm.
that way.
Well, they should sell spots.
For vendors,
Yeah.
they do.
They do, and they sell pumpkins,
The pumpkins.
yeah. So you get the pumpkins donated and they sell them. It's nominal, but they sell.
Any more questions or discussion on that? Okay. Moving on to the update on website hosting for TDA websites.
Okay, I did a bid process that you guys requested I do. We only had one bid, and that was with DNet, and I have enclosed, the other two declined to bid, and I have written responses from them where they did not wish to bid on it. If you will look, it will be under the Town of Franklin TDA Site Dark Hosting. It's gonna be page 3 of 6. What the service they're offering is to host a site on a robust hosting platform to ensure accessibility and availability during peak traffic. Also have at your disposal a team of graphic designers and programmers to make updates to the website as needed. The cost for this, the package that they're suggesting to us is the silver hosting package, and you can read the details on page 4. That includes 2 hosted domains, 20 gigabytes of disk space, and 50 mail accounts with spam protection, and the cost of that for a year. And I asked them to look at something starting July 1st to get it to run on a fiscal year, July 1st of 2013 through June 30th of 2014. That would cost us $431 a year. Something we do need to consider, I know we had kind of bounced off the idea last time. We have our main website, discoverfranklin.com, and also you have that shop and dine. They can, with this package, of course, it can host 2 domains, but something to consider, do you guys want to move forward with just sticking to the one website and condensing it? I told them that I'd have them an answer tomorrow, because I wanted to put it back on you guys to see if you wanted to move forward.
I mean, I think we need less. It doesn't make sense to have multiple websites.
I'm not sure where the shop, I think that was something that they were doing for us.
Mhm.
I don't think it's something that we.
I think it's like a complimentary deal.
Mhm.
So
I
that,
agree
that's
with
completely
Josh.
up to
I
you
think
guys.
Just
one
combine.
and-
Yeah, I would combine.
I mean, I'll be honest, I think that the fact that the TDA promotes another website is not good. I think that everybody that's doing tourism in Franklin should promote the same website. But that's not an issue for this bid.
Let me ask you, why didn't the other 2 want to bid? Did they?
They didn't elaborate.
They just.
They both declined.
They both declined.
But basically, we don't have a choice, this is the one, because we have to have a
If you'd like to make a motion to accept.
So, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, update on Facebook and Google AdWords.
Okay. All right, if you will go to page. Okay, I don't see a page. If you'll just go after the site dark hosting, it'll be page 6 of 6. It's Premier Marketing, important items to consider. Jessica Mason had approached me and I told her I would be glad to bring it to the board because I think it's definitely worth discussion. Since we've got the website hosting situation pretty much resolved, there was some things that Premier has went and looked at. And one thing that they did want to recommend to us was the current platform of how our website is built is it does not allow for easy updates or for anyone to create a blog post. She was wanting to know if the board would be interested in reviewing kind of her proposal, if you wanted her to come to the next meeting and use that to build more of that AdWords into the site instead of putting the entire 15,000 into Google AdWords, take a portion of that to help build a foundation for our Google AdWords. And this is just to entertain the idea if you were even interested in her doing this. Of course, there's no additional fee. We've already budgeted for this. But she can tell you a lot more about it than I can. I just told her I'd bring up the idea. I think it's worth at least having her come and present to you guys.
I think so too, because I don't know much about that.
Yeah, I'd just like to hear her
elaborate on that,
presentation.
Yeah,
but I know that it brings our site up more, but I don't know how purchasing those words or whatever.
If you
I'm
guys,
afraid of them.
if you guys are okay with it, I'll have her come to our September meeting.
I think so.
But this is just something for you guys to look at between now and then. And then to kind of show you where we are, she did give me some statistics about the Google AdWords. As of July the 23rd for Facebook, July 23rd, Premier received access to Facebook and it created the ads. As of July the 23rd, there was 507 likes, and as of August the 1st, it jumped to 721 likes. So it is starting to climb. We did have a little bit of a shutdown browser until she could actually get access to Facebook. So given the time frame that she's had to get in there to it, we've actually had quite a jump on it. As far as Google, again, this is something we're just now getting our hands around because we've just now got a hold of the website. But as of July the 25th, a brand new AdWords account was created, and she's included the following ads are up and running. And that'll be the last page in your agenda packet. You can kind of look at them, what she's got up. 86 keywords were created that are relevant to Franklin, North Carolina and Discover Franklin website. And they're working on tracking all traffic now that we actually have someone hosting it. So that's just kind of a brief update.
And please take a look at the pictures. She showed pictures of the billboards. Yeah, it looks pretty sharp. Sorry.
I got that
Moving
next.
ahead, I was looking, I was like,
That's why I want to put them in color. They
Sorry.
look good.
Any questions about the Facebook or Google AdWords?
I think I understand what she's talking about on the SEO, but the presentation would be good.
I'm not that
Because
yet.
there are keywords that you gotta plug in that allow anybody that's using that word, it'll jump to our website. So I understand part of that, but it wouldn't hurt to have a good presentation.
You know, she could probably show us too, like, for another, like, for an example. Like
Yeah,
when
we
she
could
types
s-
it at Google.
Mhm. Yeah, I'd be glad to sit if you guys are okay with that. We'll put that on our
Is
September.
everyone okay with that?
Yep.
I think that way, we'll have more knowledge of how it works.
Right.
And I'm sorry, I jumped ahead. The update on the electronic billboard campaign.
I'm really glad these pictures really do justice to kind of show where our money is going. If you'll look under it's right after the proposal that I showed you about Premier Marketing. The next page, if you'll look, the billboards, the first picture is in the Beaufort, Georgia area, and it's close to the Mall of Georgia. Then the next next page that shows the billboard, it's the Johns Creek area, which is a large retail area. And then the next one is the Buckhead area. And then the one they don't have a picture of is the Sugarloaf Parkway. But Lamar Outdoor, who we're contracting to do the billboards with, is giving us 5 bonus billboards in addition to the 4. So we actually have 9 billboards out there, and we're only paying for 4.
And why are they doing that?
Yeah, I was gonna say, what?
They're glad that they have.
Just
our-
nice guys, I don't know. But you can
They
notice,
probably have unfilled space. in there.
Probably.
Yeah.
they've taken pictures of
They're
the
helping us, who cares?
the ones that they're the 5 additional bonus boards.
And those are some large billboards.
Yeah, I
too.
thought
It's
it
not
turned out
like
very
ours.
nice.
Yeah, these aren't,
I mean, they stick out.
Mm-hmm. But this kind of
Especially
shows
this
you.
one on Johns Creek.
Yeah, that one.
They're like, "Ooh." What do y'all?
it's good.
I'll just tell you,
Looks good.
Jessica's done a really great job, and she's been on
Yeah.
top of it.
Thank Vermeer for
Yeah, thank you, Josh.
their efforts, because that's
You whack it.
good.
Okay, update on the Tourism Development Commission.
The only thing I have from there, and it may be better suited to look at it more at our September, the TDA board September meeting. The TDC board voted at their July meeting to look at this at the August 22nd meeting. So they've not really, we didn't look at it. There was a motion to postpone discussion until the August 22nd meeting. So it may be more relevant for us to discuss this at our September meeting. But I did tell you guys I'd give you an update, and they took.
No.
This was the
Yeah, took no
15,000.
action.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. That's all I have.
No, when did they meet?
It will be
August.
the 22nd.
22nd of August.
It's normally the 3rd Thursday of each month, but there was some, I guess, timing problems with the barbecue festival.
So she
So
couldn't
they,
get the stuff ready, so
they requested to move it to August 22nd.
postponed it to the 22nd.
Can anyone go to those meetings too?
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Yeah, they're public meetings as well. And they're at 12:15 at the chamber, the 3rd Thursday of each month.
Okay. Is there any items from the board?
I actually have something. I would like to at some point discuss the amount of the reserve that we have. And here's my take on it. I think we need a reserve, but I don't think we need more than $25,000. If we had a national disaster and we lost a couple hotels, first of all, we're not gonna need to advertise tourism as much until those get rebuilt and get restarted. So my take on it is, we've got $100,000. For the next 3 years, we can increase our budget 25% and have $125,000 budget for the next 3 years. Hopefully, doing that would, at the end of those 3 years, maybe we have $125,000 budget without, increased tourism so much that we have that to work with after that point. Just thinking out loud,
No,
I agree.
I wholeheartedly agree we need some reserve because throughout the year it fluctuates.
Mhm.
So, in the winter we don't have a lot of money come in. But my opinion is we don't need a full year's, I feel like we're wasting $75,000 just sitting at the bank. We're obviously not getting any interest on it, so.
Well, I'll tell you, when I come on the board, it was under our understanding, which I like now because I think we're moving in the right direction of rules and regulations. My understanding of the 25,000 for the reserve is what we thought was going in the reserve, or I assumed and thought, and that was it. But then it was building, and I think that's why we finally put a limit
Capped it.
to the 100,000
Well,
because
the-
we didn't realize it was. I did not even realize that it was still building because it was included in our amounts that we thought of money we had. So I
And
am in agreement.
I don't
that-
know.
The vote was 25% of our income for that year was to go into, or 25% of our income was to go into a reserve fund. And obviously, when it's building above a year, now that what are
It
we,
just kept
what are we
building.
stockpiling it for?
And that's where he said that, you know, we needed to put a cap on it.
So
we
Yeah.
checked
cut it
into
off
that.
$100,000, so I guess we need to know what we need to do to change it to
The way
25.
we did it was to put it into the bylaws. And what we would need if we're gonna make another change is for somebody to propose a change, which I can bring you a draft that would do what you're talking about for the board to consider in September to cap it at 25,000. What we put in the bylaws was that it was 25% of the funds of monthly receipts would continue to go into that reserve account, capped at the same amount that is set in the town's yearly budget, whatever that is for the TDA, and that happens to be 100,000. So that's how we got to that amount. So yeah, I think it would be a pretty simple thing to say, to just cap it at 25,000.
Well, I mean, and I'm okay with saying 25% of our yearly budget should be held in reserve. So that if, you know, we get to where we have $200,000 budget, we have $50,000 in reserve, because that's, you know, you're still gonna have fluctuations throughout the year. You need to have money on hand in the winter to pay for certain things. And in the spring, because we have to pay money in the spring for our billboards.
From the board, what kind of proposal do you want to see? And this is not a vote tonight, we'll do that in September, but
One of the things
What
too
am-
is that
what
we gotta
amount?
consider, all right, what are we gonna do if we say that we're gonna try and reduce it? What are we gonna do? We'll have to amend the budget
Well,
to
Yeah.
approve spending that money.
so, I mean, if we change it to 25% and our budget's about $100,000, we're gonna have $75,000 left.
Yeah,
My thought is spread that out over 3 years. So each year gets
And
an
increase the
additional
budget.
$25,000. And then, you know, we would have to amend the budget for this year, but we can do that. That's,
I think the best way to do that then would be to actually write in the proposal I would bring you to do that would say, with an additional, with an additional spending of 25,000 available for spending budgeted in the next 3 years to
Well, I
get
think-
to that.
I think the bylaws just need to be changed to say, we keep 25% of the yearly budget in reserve. And then, once that's put in the bylaws, we'll come up with a surplus of $75,000 that's not budgeted. So we'll have to take that and say, okay, what we want to do with this is make a separate motion to say, we want to spread this $75,000 out over the next 3 years. Because I don't think you'd want to put, I mean, you might, but I don't think you want to put what, in the bylaws, that's $75,000. It's not
no, that shouldn't
necessary.
be in the bylaws, yeah.
No.
But that,
The change for the 25% is, but the surplus is not. Once you change the bylaws to keep 25%, we have a surplus. So then we decide what we do with the surplus.
Okay, but what cap are you talking about, a cap of 25,000?
No, I'm talking about a
Or
cap
cap
of
of
25%
of the annual.
of the
budget.
annual budget. So currently,
But capped at what amount? Because that's what was going on before.
That's what-
See, that, there was
That's what I'm
no,
saying.
Yeah, the
there was no
original-
stopping, so
The
it
original
continued and
motion
started
was here,
building.
was not, yeah.
you have a budget. This year's it's $100,000.
Right.
So what I'm saying is, we should, if you say you want 25% of that budget held in reserve, this year's $25,000. So the total we need for reserve this year is $25,000. Say something crazy happens, and next year, we have a budget of $200,000. That 25% would then be $50,000 that we need in reserve.
Okay, now, I still think you need to write in that you want a reserve, to set aside 25% of your monthly receipts, capped at 25% of your budget, your yearly budget. I think you need to put a
Okay.
cap on it, is all I'm saying.
Well,
because otherwise-
that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Well-
We want a cap, and we want the
Yeah.
cap to be a lot lower than it currently is. And if we're below that, then I do think that somehow we need to put that money in. But I'm good with that.
Is that what the board wants to see, 25% of your yearly budget as the cap?
as the, yeah.
As a cap
as
on the
cap.
reserve.
Yeah, yeah.
So, does that seem fair?
That's
I mean,
reasonable because
I think that's what we thought at first, like you said, and John, we didn't have you here, and 25,000, and this is what I'm thinking, that we had meeting, you know, things kept changing, and that's what I like now, because now the change is more structured, but we thought it was capped at 25,000, and it wasn't, and it just kept,
Well,
it's
that's-
25%, and it just kept growing and growing and growing, and then we finally said, okay, we're gonna stop it,
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
the money will.
That was my purpose, because what
Right.
were we accumulating it for? And we
Right.
had no direction, other than if something catastrophic happened.
Right.
We could operate as, for a year to try and rebuild,
Right.
and that, at the same level that we are now. And that was the purpose of capping it that way.
no.
But I do think it's
And
a good
others-
point that you won't have anything to promote if it's come see Tent City.
Yeah,
I mean, if we lose
that's
the
a valid
hotels,
point.
Yeah.
you
That
know,
was valid.
And it gives
Yeah.
us more funding to do what we're doing right now, which is
Yeah.
working
Get
in our
people here.
market.
And it gives us
getting-
3 years to hit it hard and see what else we could do. I mean, we could be a little more aggressive for 3 years.
Good idea.
See if we could sell it more. That's a good idea.
So, John, so our next meeting, you would, okay.
Yes, I'll bring you for both.
Everybody get that?
Mhm.
Okay. Great idea. Any more items from the board? And I was gonna ask you, like you were speaking about the website, and then I'll be brief on this. You were talking about how maybe connecting with others and having just one.
Yeah, and here's my thing, I understand the Franklin Chamber has its website, I understand the TDC has a website. We have 2 websites, which are condensing into one, but,
Right.
you know, the TDC, the Chamber, and us should all be working to promote one website. Because promoting 3 websites, like, you're spending a lot of money to try to get people to 3 different websites, and there's a lot, you know, there's a lot of cross-branding you can do if you're, it's kind of like advertising 3 things. If you have
Put it off at the same
all that
day.
money going to advertise one thing, the results are much better. And it really is one thing. It's not 3. Franklin is Franklin. So that's it makes sense to advertise one now to get everybody on board.
That
That's a
was
whole
where.
different-
Well, and to that end, can I ask a question, just if anybody's gone to TDC meetings, how much do they focus on the town of Highlands? Because I don't have a good
No,
sense
the
of
town of
that.
Highlands is their own
I know
entity.
they have their own.
They're their own entity. The
Right.
TDC does not.
So
They
they
do
don't
work
do
with
it.
The
Nana
TDC,
Hala.
we
Good
work
point.
with Nana
They work
Hala.
with Nana Hala is what they do.
Right.
They,
Good point.
and I think that's the only, maybe like a joint meeting, because I agree with you. There's too many people doing too many things when we could all be working on one to better it and spend the money where it needs to be and do better efforts with it. But
And the sooner
getting-
that happens,
Who's
because-
gonna control what is the problem?
Well,
You know, well, I wanna do this and well, I wanna do
Personalities
that.
in that
That's
That would be like
where,
a-
because the first thing that Venture Local came out with was exactly that. We're gonna have one website. They didn't talk to people beforehand to get people lined up.
For an example, and not to interrupt, but the Visit NC. You remember when we all did the Visit NC website, and they promote a lot of the Outer Banks, that type of area.
Oh, yes,
But we've
yes,
never
yes.
seen anything. And we
Yes.
did a joint thing with the TDC, and I know you're on Buckboard, and I
remember
used to
that.
be on the TDC. It was like we never jointly meeted to see what was going on, and at the end of the year when they wanted us to renew it, it was like this, and that, but we didn't see anything, we didn't have any say-so of what was being put out there, and I think that's kind of the issue, because when you try to do a joint thing, you may never hear anything until you renew it again.
Mhm.
There's no update or follow-up, and I don't know how we could do that to reassure that that wouldn't happen like with the website, but I mean, that would be, I think that's been the problem. You wanna make it any sense?
Make sure everybody gets a fair share of the pie.
Because everybody wants to do it their way.
Mhm.
nobody wants to do it the same way.
Everybody wants to control it.
Yeah. So I guess finding a joint effort of someone to control it.
Part of the issue with the chamber is they're primarily dealing with their chamber members. They
And they're
don't-
paid.
Yeah, and they're paid to do that, so that's part of the reason for that. And, you know, and everybody else has got their own
Women.
little thing they want.
I was just gonna say women. It's women.
So I think it's a,
If you can come up with a solution, I think it's
I
a
think,
good idea.
I think a better way would be to start talking to each of the groups about coming up with a
Maybe we could
website
do a
in a little
campaign with
different
that.
tone. Yeah,
Mhm.
in a little different tone than was originally proposed. Because I know everybody pulled back on
I'm good at fixing stuff. I can-
Okay. Any more items for the floor? Any announcements? The only announcement I have, we did have to change the meeting. I wanted everyone to see for September 16th, because there's a lot of people out of town for the second Monday, and I wanted to see if there was a motion to approve it for the 16th, or if it was conflict for anyone else. I know I will be gone, and I have a
And
conference.
a couple other, yeah. I'm okay with it.
And there's a couple other people that will be out, so I didn't know.
that. Do you want a motion?
if it- Yes, please.
I'll make a motion.
And
Okay.
Summer will remind us.
Do I have a
I will
motion
remind
to
you.
Adjourn?
I move we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, guys. That was
Anybody
great.
wants to stay?
I know, I was like, woo!